education to testify to this. This is not how they were treated. And the greatest, most brilliant scholars of the Islamic tradition, what they spent their first 10 years doing was memorizing the Quran and little else. And that's enough. People like Imam Suyuti, he was a genius, so he was finished by the time he was 8. But that was quite rare. Most of them finished when they were 10, 11 years old. And literally that was all they did. I've met brilliant scholars in Mauritania who, before the age of 12, they literally had done nothing but hifz al-Quran. They'd learned nothing else. Writing, they learned how to write and how to read through the Quran. But that was it. We've forgotten these things. We're teaching them computers. We want to put them on computers when they're 8 years old, 7 years old. This is all insanity. You can learn, and they say they need to be computer literate. An idiot can learn a word for Windows or something in 10 minutes. You're going to start them when they're 8 years old, and you don't even know what's going to happen down the road when all the brain tumors. I don't know. But maybe 20 years from now, when this generation shows up, we're already seeing the effects of a generation of people that grew up on television. They're all coming of age now. The MTV generation coming of age. We've got a society of psychopaths out there. I mean, seriously, you drive around, you have to drive defensively out of fear that somebody's going to kill you. And have signs, people in California have signs in their car, please forgive me. Don't shoot, I'm a lousy driver, I admit it. I mean, this is happening, this is real, this is happening out there. Unbelievable. People are filled with rage. They have no patience. There's too much stress in the culture. They call stress, there were studies done and said that stress was based on what they call pattern interruptions. And what they said was about 30 years ago, an average person working in an office had about 7 pattern interruptions in an hour. Now they have about 20. Which means like faxes, phones, beepers, interruptions. This is what happens to people. So the mind begins to get overload, and it can't take it. And people literally, you see people out here in this quote-unquote service industry, and you wonder who's serving who. You have to be nice to them just to get service. Because really you have to go out of your way, because if the slight little display of, on the phone, they'll literally hang up on you. They will. If it's their fault, they'll just hang up on you. Unless they're being monitored. But if the company's not monitored, I called a company and it was a difficult problem, and literally the person said, you know what, I can't deal with this. And they hung up on me. And I called back the manager. I said, I need to talk to a manager. And she said, hello, Khadija. And I said, what was your name? She said, Khadija. I said, Salaam alaikum. She said, Wa alaikum assalam. And then I said, listen, I'm glad I got a Muslim. And I told her what happened. She said, you know, brother, this is all tests from Allah. I said, man, all these corporations have to do is just realize what a boon Islam would be to their businesses. When the plane's late, MashaAllah. See, we should be telling them these things. They'll become Muslim. قَدَّرَ اللَّهُ مَا شَاءَ فَعَلَ. Can't do anything about it. That's what she said to me. She said, some people, she said, we know that there's a day of judgment. They don't know that. That's what she said. But we know that. They're going to get their day. You can't mistreat people and it doesn't come back to you. That's what she said. And she said, brother, I've got a thing right in front of me. I look every day. It said, and it's my message from Allah. She said, it says, Khadija, I'm in charge of your life. So if anything goes wrong, I made it go wrong as a test to keep you straight. So just relax. That's what she wrote on her. I'm not making this up. I'm really serious. That happened to me. Alhamdulillah. So that is the way that you have to deal with things, with your children and with all these things, by really living the tawheed of Islam. By letting them know that you know. It doesn't mean that you don't have discipline, no. But discipline should be done with an understanding. It's not anger or rage. That's not what discipline is. If you discipline your children from your own anger, that's your own nafs. Now, when you get your children, the next stage is shabab. And in Islam, they have to learn the fard. Now, we have a whole generation of Muslims that have never learned the fard ayn. People haven't learned tawheed. If you study tawheed, you can't look at the world the same way. You can't look at anything the same way. If you really know tawheed, Muslims won't ask the questions they're asking. Why is this happening to us? Really, they won't ask, why is there all this madness going on in the Muslim world? They won't ask those questions because they'll know why. If they know tawheed, they'll know why. And then we can respond appropriately, because we need to become strategic thinkers. We don't think strategically. We're very good at reacting. We're very good at getting angry. We're very good at having days of rage. But we're not very good at asking, why is this happening? And really analyzing seriously, why are these things happening to us as an ummah? And then taking the appropriate steps within our capacity, given the circumstances we find ourselves in, to change our condition. Because Allah has given us the ability to change our condition. Don't think it is not there. We have the ability, but we are not doing it, and that's why we keep getting the same results. Because we're responding to the same crises the same way. Really. So people need to learn this. We need to teach our young people tawheed. We need to teach them salat properly. We need to teach wudu, zakat, fasting, hajj. You need to teach the rules of buying and selling, of marriage. When people get married, to know the rights and responsibilities. Many people get married now, they have no idea that there's mas'uliyat, there's wajibat. Your wives have rights. Most people don't know, most women don't know, that according to 3 out of the 4 imams, a woman has no obligations in the house in terms of cooking and cleaning. Really? No, seriously. They don't know that. They don't know that. Literally. The school that I studied, in the Maliki school, a woman can charge her husband for feeding his guests. Literally, like a caterer. It's not an obligation on her. You say, oh, I'm bringing 10, 20 people over. Kitchen's there. It's right over there. That's what she can do. What would the modern Muslim do? What? Are you talking back to me? Don't you know that a woman who questions her husband, the angels curse him? Well, what about you? Don't you know that women have rights too? It works both ways. It seems like the men always quote these hadiths that suit them, and then they don't teach any of the other stuff. You look at those books, you always see the same hadiths. And I wonder about that, because the sign of people of bid'ah is they quote hadiths that suit them, and they leave the hadiths that don't suit them. That's a sign of people of bid'ah. So, we need to learn these things. If you know the rights and responsibilities, you shouldn't have problems in your marriage. When you have problems in your marriage, it's because you're not following the rules and the guidance that Allah has given us. I guarantee you. There is incompatibility between people, and that does exist, and that's another matter. But generally, by and large, if you do what Allah told you to do and avoid what He told you to avoid, you will not have problems in your marriage. You won't. And that is absolutely